Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's live session. It's a bit of a special one tonight because we are doing a sort of session about how to get started with the game jam that is launched right now. It got launched on the 1st of August, and you can join it for free over on Itch, and there's a link in the description where you can click and join it if you like. You've got a whole month where you can join in at any point, any time, dedicate as much time as you want on it. And for those who have already started it, good luck. But the theme for this game jam for this year is all about fishing and making a fishing mini game. And what I like about this is that there are an infinite number of ways you can do a fishing mini game. Okay, and there are loads of great examples out there of fishing being included in many games. Some are pretty passive, some are pretty active, and you've got to do quite a lot of things to it. And what we're looking for is anything really at all. We want to see any type of fishing game, a mini game, full game, whatever you want to do. Anything to do with fishing is all fine by me. Okay, so I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone's fishing games. And what we're trying to do tonight is we're going to do some pointers to help people get off their feet and get some ideas about how they can get started making a fishing mini game. But as I said, there's loads of ways of doing it. So what I'm going to do tonight is not the way you are meant to do it. There are infinite number of ways. Okay, this is just a way I would do it. Okay, and but you may pick up a few tips and tricks on how we want to approach this. So hello everyone, how you all doing? In the chat there, hey Omega, hey Super, how you doing? Zebra, good to see you. Harris, Talden, good to see you all. And let's jump into Unreal. So we're only going to do about an hour or so tonight, so I don't know how far we'll get. We'll go as far as we can. I've brought in a few assets from the asset packs from the marketplace to help me get started. I've got some fish, and I've got some environment stuff in here too, just so we've got something better to look at than this stuff. So let's jump over into that map there and get a better scenery involved here. Now, when I think of fishing games, I'm going back to, thinking of, the Zelda games and their use of fishing mini-games. Kind of like those sort of ideas where you cast it out and then you got to reel it in. Being careful not to break the line. I kind of like that, and that's what we're going to try and do today. But one thing that's quite common amongst all the sort of fishing mini-games you see is that it's usually a mix between the 3D environment and a 2D widget. So you have a 2D element on the screen, which is your sort of meters, the track, how well you're going to break and snap the line and things like that. And some are completely bonkers, and you've got some really weird things where it turns into a real true mini game. I'm cool for weird and bonkers. That's all good with me. So we got this ruined thing. I've got this from the marketplace ages ago, so we're just going to use this just for a nice little backdrop. And what I'm going to try and do is I'll make it so that our character can go up to the water, fish, get fish, and take it back to sell. And the fish will weigh different amounts based upon whatever we're doing here. So, the first thing we need to do is... Oh, sorry, I'm trying to keep an eye on chat as well on the other screen. So if I pause and read, that's what I'm doing. So the first thing we do is detect whether or not I'm in front of water. That's going to be quite a common thing you may want to do. And by the way, in your game jam, you don't have to have this part where you're running around an environment to find water. You don't have to do that. You can just go straight into fishing if you like. Totally up to you. But I've got this water plane here. We might as well just use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my character check to see if there's water in front of them. So let's go into the player character. And we'll do it as a function. Check for water. And this could be a very simple line trace out. Okay. So we're going to do a line trace by channel. And the line trace is not going to be going from the player's point of view. It's going to actually start ahead of them and go down until it finds water. So the starting point is going to be basically the actor's location, but projected forward. So for that, we can do get to location, And I'm going to add on to that the forward vector, multiply that by the distance. So I'm going to multiply it by, I don't know, let's say 300. Okay, so I'm going to put that out and add that onto my actor location. That's going to be my starting point. The end point is going to go just down from there. So we're going to add onto that in the Z, negative 300. It depends on how far away from the water your body wants to be. And if I just do it as a debug for one frame, you'll be able to see what this does. So let's go chuck this onto a tick event. So it just constantly does it. Check for water. Okay, so we've got that little line sticking out the ground there. Okay, so the idea being is that I'll just line my player up, and then we'll make our line hit the water and detect the water. So for that to work, we need to make our water have a custom collision channel. But I'm going to guess by default that this thing does not have any sort of custom collision stuff on it. So we're going to do that. Okay. So let's go ahead and mess about with custom collision data. So if you don't know how custom collision data works, basically any object has collision presets. Okay, so if you go down to its collision settings, you can see here collision preset is set to no collision. Well, I'm going to change that to custom, because I don't want necessarily to have no collision. I just want it to have a custom collision in the sense that I want it to have a collision enabled to be query only. So I don't care about physics or anything like that, I just want query. And then I want it to have a custom trace response. So here you've got visibility and camera. We're going to make a custom one. And to do that, you go to project settings, go down to collision and trace channels, and we're going to do water. And by default, everything is going to ignore the water channel. Okay? Because we want it to be inclusive. Okay, so the collision response, we need to click off of that and click on something else. There you go. And that should now show water. I'm going to choose that to block. And now go back to my player character, check for water, and I'm going to change the trace channel here to water. If when you click on this it doesn't show the new trace channel, just hit compile and it will show it. Okay. So now what we should hopefully see is the line going down and hitting the water and showing that detection happening there. So as you can see, the floor is being ignored, but it's now hitting the water. Excellent. But there is a slight problem with this. The problem is that this plane, like most water planes in game, actually go underneath the ground. So this thing is going to go underneath the ground, and what's going to happen is our trace is going to go through the floor and still hit the water, which is rubbish. We don't want that to happen. We don't want our player to be able to fish in the middle of the land. So we actually need it to also block the land as well. Okay, so we want it to block all water traces, essentially. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my project settings, go to collision, and as an easy way of doing it, I'm going to change everything to block the water channel. So I'm going to go to edit, block. So now everything's going to block the water channel. And what I'm going to do instead of the water here is I'm going to go to the water and tell that to ignore. We'll do overlap, I guess. Overlap. So now everything in here is going to block that channel except for this water thing. Okay, so the floor's going to block it, and it should now go through that water channel there. Okay. Now, oh, why am I walking on it? Query only. Oh, yeah, I need to tell it to ignore all this stuff. Hold on. Ignore. There you go. Let's jump across over to there. Cool. Okay. So if I know that water is going to ignore it, I just want to make sure my line trace then doesn't go that too low. I need to keep it like fairly like recent, like height wise. So I'm going to go to negative 100 instead of 300. And so I'm just going to say if it doesn't hit anything, well, that doesn't mean that we're in the floor. We want to do it when we're on the floor, don't we? No, we'll make it work. Okay. So that is detecting no hit, therefore there should be, that is saying there's water there. The alternative is, when you're going to see this, is when I'm off a ledge, which we don't want that to be the case, do we? That's the broken bit. That's not going to work like that, is it? Silly Ryan. Of course not. Right, we're going to go back the way I had it. So, we're going to set it to ignore everything. Sorry for messing you about. Ignore. And set the water here to block the water. So, I need that trace to also block visibility traces as well. So, I'm probably going to have to do 2 traces. Yeah, there you go. Probably have to do 2 traces. The tag won't work because the line trace is going through the floor as well, and the plane goes through underneath the whole entire level. So it's not going to work putting a tag on it. So we just need it to first of all do a check to make sure there's no floor there. So check for water. This will be checking for the water channel. Checking water, and then on the before that happens though, I'm going to do another line trace down. So I'm going to copy this, paste that, and this is going to check for visibility. And I only want it to carry on going if the visibility trace is false. Okay, and I'll turn debug off on that. And so what we should see now is it should only be visible when we're above water. So at the moment you see there's no line going in front of the player character. If I go over to the water, fingers crossed, nothing happens. Why not? Push channel, visibility. If it doesn't hit anything, yeah, that's right. Now, draw debug for 1 frame. Oh, we messed up. That should be right. So that's hitting stuff. Then, oh, it's too long. Hold on. We need to change that to minus 120. Okay, yeah, that's working now. And I could make it easier for you to see if I just change that back to no debug. So now that line trace should only appear when we're above water. So what was happening, the first line trace was too long and hitting the bed of the river. But now that's hitting, then detecting that, hey, yes, we're fronting water. And to help prove that this will work better for us as well, is if I go over here, you can see, even though I'm hanging off the edge, there's no hit there. Yeah, so the line trace is showing that, hey, now checking for water, there's no water. Okay? Okay. That'll do. So we'll just go back to our player character and just say at the end here, break, promote to variable, can fish. Okay. Okay, next. We're going to send out the bobber, the hook out, the line out. So I'm not worried about too much about the visuals of the actual line, the cable, or anything like that just yet. I'm just going to focus on the actual fundamentals. So the first thing we're going to need is this bobber actor. Okay, and let's just give this thing a little graphic of some kind. Cylinder. Something like that. There we go. And I could animate it to do its bobbing thing, but for now, that'll do. Alongside this though, I also want to have a camera. So when I throw it out, the camera goes to it and we are watching the bobber go up and down and ready to be attacked. So I'm going to go ahead and add to this then a spring arm. And on that spring arm, we're going to add a camera. Like that. And I'm just going to rotate it up a little bit, maybe. There you go. Okay. So, I want to cast this bobber out somewhere. When it spawns, I do want to change the view target to this. So, get player controller. Yeah, we could use buoyancy stuff, yeah. If you're using the built-in water stuff, though, yeah. The material of a single water layer to look stylized. A good way to do it is if you look at Prismatic Dev. I think he's got quite a good video on how to do it. Check out his stuff. So set view target with blend, and you view target itself, and we'll do a blend time of 0.5 seconds. And we're going to make this a projectile as well. So for that to work, I need to make the mesh here the root, or have another. You basically need a primitive component to be the root. So I have a capsule collision be the root. Oh. Let's change the size of this thing. There we go. And we'll change the half height of that to 20 and 10. Yeah, something like that. And add a projectile. And we're going to set the speed up as 1000. 1000. Should bounce? No. No. Okay. So the thing I want to do now is I want to make the capsule here have the collision with the water. So I'm going to go down to collision presets, custom, water, block. Okay, so let's try launching this thing out from the player character. So I'm going to just do it with like the 1 key. Ooh. And we'll do a function called cast line. And for that, I'm going to just spawn actor BP bobber. Get actor transform. Always spawn ignoring collisions. And owner. I'll just do self, why not? And that'll do there. And the condition for our function here is going to be this canned fish that we just did for our line tracing. I'll go over to there. So let's just do cast line on there and see how that looks first of all. By the way, I've got an awesome method of how to do the random fish weights. So stay tuned for that. Okay, kind of works. Didn't hit the floor though, and that is probably because this thing can't be query only. The water needs to also be physics enabled as well. So collision enabled, query and physics. Let's try that again. No, why are you doing this? Capsule. Oh, it's because this is set to overlap still, I think. Oh no. Collision presets pawn. Oh. We'll change that to custom. So the reason why it's going for the floor is because the object type here is set to pawn, and the water is told to ignore pawns. I'm going to make this world dynamic instead. Oh, not world dynamic. Because I don't want all world dynamic objects to be affected. We probably need our own little one in here, but for now I'm just going to do a physics body type. Wait, this is the character. That's wrong. Oh, hang on, I've done it all wrong. Pawn, pile. I'm in the wrong thing. Popper, capsule, query only, collision enabled, query in physics, object type world dynamic. I'll just leave it like that, sort it. Block water. That's just a trace response, that's not really a collision response. I need that also. Crap. Okay, 1 second. So we need another collision channel. We need a collision object channel for water. And by default, things are going to overlap water. Water object. There you go. Overlap. Done. Capsule. And we'll say this thing is going to block water objects. Okay, and on the water here, I'm going to change that to collision enabled for both, and change the object type to water object, and it's going to block world dynamic objects. For a collision to work, both objects need to be the corresponding blocking. If one sets overlap or ignore, it's going to both block and ignore. So let's see if that is all of it. Yep, there you go. Okay. Do that again. Woo. Okay. Right, so let's launch it up a bit further. Keeping an eye on time. I don't want to go too far over. Yeah, so this I just want to add an extra like angle on it. So we're going to split this. And split this. Location. Rotation. It's going to take this and combine a bit of the pitch, which is the Y coordinate. So we're going to do 60 in the pitch there. So it should go up a bit now. Oh, no. I swear it was pitched there. Maybe not. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's here. That was doing a roll. Ah, wait, no, this is world transform. I need to go. No, it should be alright doing that. Great, we'll try this one. Oh, wrong way. Negative 60. Although that's world coordinate, so it's not going to work, is it? I need to make it more local. Okay, I've got a better way of doing this. Rather than doing that, let's recombine this. Recombine this. Put that back together. Go back to the bobber. Go to projectile movement. Scroll down, and you see velocity is 1 in the X direction. I also want to go up a little bit, so in the Z I'm going to put in 0.5. And now that should be more accurate. Yeah, there you go. Nice. Okay, so there's our bobber. Okay, so now let's get this bobber to bob when it has caught a fish. So let's say we go to the event graph, and on begin play, actually on hit we'll do, on hit. So as soon as it splash lands, we're going to do a set timer by event. And the time here is going to be a random float in range. And we'll do between 3 seconds and 6 seconds, for example. And it's going to be a do once. In the event, we're going to drag out and create an event. And that event is going to be the bobbing animation to indicate that how you would caught a fish. We call it hooked fish. On hooked fish. I'll just call it hooked fish. There you go. Hooked fish. And when that happens, we're going to do a simple animation, timeline. I'm not do anything fancy. Bob. Animation. And add a float for this. Bob. And we're going to do a couple of points in here. Between 0 and 1. Length of 1 second. Okay, and we're going to go this one to 1. Oh. This one to 1. This one to 1 and 0. And we'll set all the points and right click auto. So we get this sort of curvature going on here. And I'm going to just drag these lines down a bit. Like so. So it goes down into the water first and then goes up. Okay. In fact, I should bring that across there. And that one should start at 0, 0 really. And this one will end at 0, 0. Oh, not 0, 0, 1, 0. So doing something like this. So this is just representing like the bobbing animation. So it's going to go down underneath the water, back up, and back down again, back up. There, and we have this on loop. So I tick the loop button. And the event graph here, we're going to update. And we're going to change the static mesh and their position. So I'm going to do set relative location. And we're going to multiply the... Hang on. Put that in there. Put that in there. Multiply this z-axis. Do like 20. And what it's going to do is set relative, it just means it's going to move on the spot. And it's just the mesh. So the actual capsule, everything is staying put. It's just the mesh going up and down. So that's what's going to happen there. So let's see if that works. And we see the bobbing animation playing on loop. So launch and then wait. Not too bad. Okay. So what I might do is just actually take all of this and bring that down like this. Zero, 0, 1, 0. We'll bring this up there. Okay, let's see how that looks. Whoop. Perfect. Okay. And when that happens, the player's going to hit a button and start their minigame to initiate catching fish. But obviously we need some fish. And I found this little pack. I must have got it as part of one of the monthly free ones. They had these nice little fish blueprints and meshes. So I'm going to just throw a few of these in the water. They look quite fun. They literally do nothing for the game. Just visuals. But I like what they look like. It looks quite nice. We'll use the meshes for something else, hopefully, if we have time. But we're halfway through, and I'm very cautious of the time we have. But there's a little animation of fishes, and they will swim around a little bit. Yeah, it's quite nice, isn't it? So, like I'm gonna catch a fish. Whoop. Oh, hit the water. A bit too early. Yeah, there you go. Okay, right. Because I definitely want to show it, I'm going to show the way I would do the random fish weighting. So the whole point, well, not the whole point, but one of the main points of fishing mini games is catching a fish and see what weight it is, what size fish it is, and it'll be random like weighting as well. So you'll have a very rare chance of getting a big fish, right? And I was thinking, brainstorming earlier on today, thinking, how could you do this? And I actually come up with a cool method. So, let's say, for example, I want to catch a fish. And let's say our blueprint class here is give us an actor, BP, fish. Okay, this is the fish we've caught. And part of this is going to be a curve. Okay, so I'm going to go to miscellaneous, curve float. And we're going to call it CV. Curve, and this will be weight, and we'll do it for a particular fish. So this will be weight goldfish, for example. And what we're going to do in this graph here is 0, 0, we're going to add a key, and then at 1, 1 we're going to add a key, and 1, 1 is going to be, well, 1, 1, the 1 on the timeline is going to be the maximum sort of size it can be. So let's say the maximum size this weight goldfish can be is going to be like 10. Okay, and I'm just resize this thing to zoom to fit. Oh, this would help if I select both. There you go. And there's my graph, right? This is a linear growth. Okay, so the way you do this is you'll do a random float, feed it into this curve, and it'll output a random weighting, right? So let's say I actually want to make this curve obviously not linear. So I'm going to right click on this and change this to auto. And I'm going to add a key to the middle of it. I'm going to make that a auto key. And I can change the weighting of our curvature here. So if I bring this down like this, for example, it means that most of the fish are going to be quite small. I can bring this up like so, and say most of these fish are going to be between, like, the minimum weight is going to be like 4, for example. What's that for? 3.75, whatever. And the majority of the fish are going to be underneath this, 6.25. But we have a rare chance, yeah, a 3 out of 10 chance of getting something higher than that. Yeah, and I can adjust this however I want. And because it's going to be a float, we're going to get the decimal points as well. So let's say I do it like this, and we can add the curves in like this, for example, whatever it may be. Close that. And if I go to the variables here, we do weight curve. And that'd be a float curve. No, sorry, curve float. I forget they've got two things named the same. Okay. So we've got this weight curve, and that we can compile and set it to our goldfish weight curve. Okay. And then on our variables here, we can set the weight. The weight, which will be a float. Float. So on the construction script, on begin play, I'm going to drag this weight curve out, get value, get float value, and the result of this can be the weight value of our fish. The in time here, it's going to be just random float. And that's it. It's going to pick a random float between 0 and 1, and that curve is going to indicate how heavy the fish should be. So let's test this out. Every time I spawn a fish in, I'm going to get a random weight, and I'm going to print string the weight of the fish. Okay, so we're going to do format text. Oh, what if I did this first? Format text. Plug that into there. And the format, we're going to put in curly brackets of, we'll just call it W for weight, kg. And I put the weight in there. Compile and save. And to test this out, I'm going to go to my event graph, and I'm going to make it so when I push the 2 key, we're just going to spawn a fish in. BP fish. Okay. And we don't care where we're spawning it. We just want to see that print string come up. So as I spawn these fishes in with the 2 key, you should see in the top left hand corner with the print strings what weight they're going to come out as. 6.14 kilograms, 8.36 kilograms, 7.371 kilograms, 4.18 kilograms, 4.176 kilograms, 429. Yeah? And that distribution can be handled by that curve. Okay, and I thought that was a really simple way of handling a weighted curve for things like a float, like a weight is, like a kilogram weight is. So, and then each fish will have its own weight curve. So some fish will always be heavier than others, some would be more common than others, those sorts of things. Okay, so yeah, I thought that was a really neat way of doing that. Anyway, so there's our weight. We've got our fish for the weight now. Now it's time for the minigame itself. So for this, we're going to do a widget. And I've got a really cool, interesting way of doing this. Remember, as I said, there's an infinite number of ways of doing this. This is just a way. You can do any kind of fishing game you like. You don't have to do this particular fishing game. You can do any kind of fishing game you want for the game jam. So heads up on that. Don't feel like you have to do it this way. I don't want to see like 100 entries of this game. If you want to do it, you can do, but I advise to do something your own idea. Okay, so for the minigame, I'm going to do something quite simple. All right, I'm going to do a progress bar. In fact, I'm going to wrap that with a canvas panel, just to save a bit of effort. In fact, canvas panel, or should I make it part of make it a 3D widget? I might make it a 3D widget. Yeah, let's make it a 3D widget. And so what we're going to do with this then is we're going to change the desired on screen size, not desired on screen, custom on screen size, and I want to do it long like that. So width of 50, height of 600. Okay, and the percentage here is going to go from top to bottom. No, bottom to top. That's what I want. And so as I pull it closer, we can either go from, I don't know, should we go from there down, or make the meter fill up, and if it fills up, it'll break. I think we'll do that. If it fills up, it'll break. Okay. So this would be the breakage line. Just make it red, for example. And I want this value to increase, and what I'm going to do is I'll make it so that when I shake the mouse, it's going to increase the tension on the string. Okay, and this is going to be tension. So I'm going to change the bar here to bar underscore tension. And on the graph, and we'll do an event tick, we're going to, or not, yeah, do we have to do that? We just go to functions and go on mouse move. We want to get delta of the position of the mouse. And so down here you can get cursor delta. And this gives you a vector 2D of like how far left and right and up and down it's moved. And for that I'm just going to do vector 2D, vector length, sorry. So the more I move it, the higher the number will be. Now before I go and put this into some sort of equation to squash it into a progress bar, I'm going to print this out just to see what kind of numbers I'm getting. I'll do that, and then do handled for that. Okay, so that's going to happen. On the bopper, we're going to add our 3D widget to the bopper. So widget, I'm going to choose my real minigame, turn that around. Draw size, we're going to set to 600, oh no, sorry, 50 by 600. And then I'm going to scale it down to 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. And we'll put that there. Okay, so let's see that work. So hopefully we should see a print string of all the numbers flying off. And oh, I have to change the input mode. Whoops. Let's go to real minigame. And on construct, get player controller. Set input mode to UI only. Why not? And sure, focus on the tension bar. Why not? Whoop. Okay, so it's not working with the mouse movement, and I'm guessing it's because I made it a 3D widget. So it being a 3D widget, we're going to do the tension somewhere else then. So I'm going to take the mouse move out of here. That. Instead, I'm going to put in the bopper and make the bopper keep track of this information. So we're going to do on mouse move? No, what do I call it? Mouse. Hang on. Mouse XY. Mouse 1. Mouse XY 2D axis. Mouse XY 2D axis. Do that. Okay. And get cursor delta. No. That should be fine on its own. I should be able to just do this. Vector length. I think. Print string. But for this to enable this, I need to enable collision on it. So on begin play, enable collision, enable input. Right. Let's see if that prints that out now. Remember, you have a whole month to make yours. I'm doing mine in an hour. Oh, I didn't change give it the input mode stuff, did I? Oops. Yeah, give it up. Do 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 do. There you go. So as I move the mouse, that numbers are generating, and they're roughly. I mean, I'm trying to capture them now. I think they're going up to like. I think if I move it a lot, I'm going to get like 200. It's how much your mouse is moving. So I'm going to go back to the bopper here, and on mouse XY2D, I'm going to. The thing is, I want to reel it in. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to normalize this to a range. No, not normalize to range. What can I do? So I don't want numbers to go too high. I need to work out... okay, so I'm going to divide this... Nope. Divide this number by 100. And I'm going to tell my widget that's the tension I'm sending over to it. So we're going to go on begin play and get hold of that widget. So when you drag out the widget like this, this is the widget component. Annoyingly, like, we should really rename these things to widget component to make it life a little bit easier. So widget component, and then from that you want to get the widget. Get widget. Cast to your widget you're using. And then promote to variable. And in here, in the widget over here, we're going to do mouse movement as a float. And I want the bar tension set percent on tick. Take the mouse movement and we're going to F interp 2, and we're going to put that as the current value. Current value, and target can be 0, delta time there, interp speed 3, and then plug that into, no, then add that onto tension value. So promote that to tension and set tension there and plug that into percentage there. Okay, so what I'm thinking is that as we move the mouse, we're dividing it by a high number, like 100. So if I send over 0.1, 0.1 is going to come over here as what mouse movement. It's going to try and push it all the way back down to 0. So every time it's going to try and reset it back down to 0. And then we're going to take whatever that value is, add it onto the current tension value, and plug that in. Now tension goes up, it's going to go up. But the problem is tension then won't ever go down, it will only ever go up. So to make it go down, I need to make the target here -1. But the tension itself would be clamped between 0 and 1. We'll just do that there, that way around. I think that's right. We'll see. So let's go back to my pop-up. And back on the tick over here on the mouse 2D. We're going to drag out our reference to our minigame widget. And we're going to do set mouse movement to whatever that is. Let's see how that looks. Well, yeah, it does work, but really easily. So I'm moving the mouse a very little amount. But as you can see, if I don't move the mouse, it goes back down. So I just need to increase the division number. So let's just do divide by, let's do 10,000. Because it is sending it every frame, so yes, the faster your frame rate goes, the more tension this will break, I guess. But if I move the mouse, right, it's not too much now. Let's try going up to 1,000. We've overcorrected that. Let's take out one of the zeros. And now it's got the thing is shake the mouse. So like I have to like shake the mouse to pull it in, but I don't want to shake it too much because otherwise it'll tap out and break. So I'm looking for a nice balancing act where the player needs to move the mouse but not get it capped out. And honestly, this is not too bad. Like I'm having to move the mouse quite steadily. Yeah, not too bad. We'll take that. Okay, so with that done, if this tension here breaks to, so basically if it goes equal to, or let's do greater than or equal to 1, we're going to do an event dispatch on here. Say on tension max. Call that. And that'll be on the branch there. So if it gets above 1, it's going to call this tension max, which we can tell our bobber here to cancel what it's doing. So we'll make an event on here. Break line. And we'll go to begin play. When we've got the real minigame reference, we're going to bind the event to tension max. And then create the event. Break line. Cool. Yeah, marketplace assets are totally cool. As long as you've got access to them, like a legitimate access, you haven't like stolen from something. If you've got the rights to use them, yeah. And anything you downloaded and purchased off the marketplace is a-okay. I do not mind at all. I'm more interested to see what kind of design you come up with for a minigame. Like, you may want to do something crazy like, oh, this game, fishing game, you have to throw dynamite into the water to blow fish up and then collect all the fish up. It could be something crazy like that. You could do something like ridiculous fishing, if you've ever played that phone game. Yeah, you've got loads of options how you can do this. You can do it simulation, or you can do it silly. I am all up for seeing cool ideas. When you say assets, do blueprints count? To some degree. I think I'm more interested to see design. I think it depends on what you're using it for. Like at the moment, these fish are moving. I haven't made them in the code to make them move, but they're not the main feature of the thing. Like if I just, basically, I don't want you to go on the marketplace, search for a fishing minigame, download it, and upload that. I want you to actually try and design your own minigame. So, yeah. But generally, yeah, blueprints would be cool, like fine with necessarily, yeah. I'm more interested in the design aspect of it. Yeah, so when we just destroy this actor, we're going to get the player character, get player controller, and set the view target back to the player. .5. Oh, destroy actor here, I can't do before this. If I do destroy actor before I do the set view target, it won't do the blend, it'll just go straight to it. Because it doesn't exist anymore. Likewise as well, if I put this straight after, it still has the same problem. You need to delay it a little bit. So delay, no, do just fine. We'll do delay of 0.6 for example. And that should now go back to the player character when the bobber gets broken. So let's go up to the water, throw the line out, wobble, 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 and if I break it, bang, it breaks, and I am back to the character. And try it again. Okay, so now we've got to make the bobber go back to the player, so they reel it in. So back to my bobber. So when I move the mouse, and I'm sending mouse movement across here, we also want to pull the actor in. So we're going to move, not move, I don't think there's a move component too. Yeah, no. That'll be fine. We'll do that. Move component 2, and we'll plug that into there. And we'll do the component as the capsule component. Relative rotation, we'll just do get actor rotation, be the normal rotation they're using. But for location, I want to lerp the vector, and we're going to use the alpha there, and then the A value here is going to be their current location, character location, and the target location of B is going to be the player character location. And because it's going to lerp, it should inch closer and closer and closer to the player. How much so, I don't know. We might have to multiply this value, but we'll see. Oh, you got caught on my player character. We have to change that, obviously. Okay. I think the problem we've got here is this bit, movement component 2. We don't want this to happen until it starts saying it's hooked a fish. So, we need to say fish hooked. Set that to true. And mouse 2D, branch that. True, true. Okay. Because it's trying to reel in the fish before we add it. Okay, so wait for it to start bobbing. Okay, and then it's moving. It's moving. The more move it, the faster it should move, because the movement mouse is still going. Nice. Okay, that's working brilliantly. So now I want to do a check to see how close it is and get a distance between the two. So let's get a distance between that and that. Distance vector. I'm going to say if this is less than 100, oh, we've got 2 minutes left. Let's see if we can catch a fish. 100, and then put that into a branch. We want to say fish caught. So we're going to have a custom event in there. Fish caught. And we'll just say fish caught. And when fish caught happens, we want to give the fish to the player. So over here, when we hook a fish, oh, I need to spawn in a fish. So I'm going to do spawn actor from class, choose my fish. Rushing now. I'm getting quick. Spawn actor for fish, and then I'm going to promote that to a variable. I call it hooked fish. Fish. And then when the line breaks, we want it to destroy the fish as well. So the fish gets away. But then if we hook the fish on fish caught, I want to send that to the player character. So we're going to do get fish, and I'll do a quick widget to say you caught a fish. Rushing. Canvas panel. Text. Put that in the middle. So that's the content. And we'll say fish caught. And then underneath that, I'll wrap that with a vertical box. I can say the weight of it. text, weight. Okay, and we'll do weight. Float. Construct text. Set text. And we're going to do format text. W, K bracket, KG. Ah, I missed the timeline. 1 minute over. Although I think we started 1 minute late, so I'm going to let myself off a little bit. Plug in the weight into that, and then we'll just delay, keep it simple, delay, like 3 seconds, and then remove from parent. And now, once I've done this, I'll talk about what I would do next. So when fish caught here, we're going to do create widget. Fish caught. Oh, I need to send over the weight as a exposed variable. Refresh this. Fish, weight. There's our weighting. And then we're going to add it to viewport. Add to viewport. And once that's all said and done, I'm going to destroy the actor and break the line. Or just do break line, really. Actually, I don't want to do break line because I don't want to destroy the actor of the fish again. So I'll just take this, but not the fish being destroyed, and just put that back on there. Okay, phew. Right, we have just made a fishing minigame. Alright, Ben, don't cross me out. Okay, so if I wiggle the mouse. Oh, there you go. Oh, I broke the line. Whoops. Wiggled it too much. Wait for it to wiggle. Is it going to do anything? Just keep coming at me. Did I not put in the... If it is... Distance is less than 100. Fish caught, yeah. Let's change that to 200 then, just in case. Being weird like that. Pull it in, pull it in. Why is that not detecting the collision? Why does it just keep on going? This over time, by the way, should be delta world seconds, just realised. Let me print string the distance here, because that's doing weird stuff. Get player character, get location. Capital. Yeah, it should be right. Go for a slow kiss. Yeah, maybe. Oh, there you go. Now it does it. Fish caught. Hey. I'll do it again. Hey. I think that's just the world delta time for some reason wasn't hooked in and causing some issues. So what I'm going to do, it was moving a bit too quick, so what I'm going to do is take this mouse movement and divide that yet again by 10, so the value isn't too big. There you go. Fish caught, 7.45 kilograms. Ta-da! So, you've got 1 month to make your own fishing game, okay? And I did it in an hour, right? So, hopefully you got a few pointers of how you could do certain things. My favourite part of this is the weight curve for creating weights for fishes. I kind of like that. I might see if I can use that somewhere else in other games. But the fundamentals are there. Now, if I was to carry on doing this, where would I go next? Well, first of all, this gameplay isn't that exciting, right? Because the only thing that can break the line is if I wiggle the mouse too much like that. So, what I wanted to do, I want the fish to fight back. So, maybe it'll move away from the mouse sometimes too, if I don't keep the line within a certain amount. Maybe I want to keep this red line within a certain range and not let it hit the bottom. Because if it hits the bottom, the fish will pull away. Something like that. I then could also do things like quite easily put in like a pool, like a special pool of fish, and I can aim to land this in that. And if I get in that, I'm going to get a rarer type of fish. I can then trade the fish into a fishmonger, get some money. I can upgrade my reel, and upgrade my line. Yeah, things like that. And by the way, if you want to do an actual cable for the bobber, use a cable component. You can either do this with a Niagara effect, either way. I'm going to do cable and attach end location 000, and then on begin play, we're going to get the player character and cable end, set end component, attach end to component, and I'm going to do the root component of the player character like that, and then the distance of the cable I'm going to put on the tick event, tick or mouse hoodie. I'll do it on mouse hoodie actually no, I'll do it on tick. Sorry, I can't be bothered. Do it on tick, we ain't got enough time. Take the cable out a set length there, and that's going to be the same as the distance of the player character to the bobber, like that. And yeah, and I can make this cable thin or thicker. So cable width here will change to like 5. Compile, and we should now have a line going out with the bobber. And then when I put it in, yay! Yeah. And in hindsight, I probably would attach the cable start to the mesh. So as the mesh bobbed up and down, the cable went with it. Like that. Bing! Fish caught. I'll also make the fish like have different types. So different types of fish will have different weights, but also have different pull on it, so they can fight back on the thing. I don't know. I messed about with the ideas there. But yeah, a few key things is your fishing minigame is most likely going to consist of some widget part, and that could be whatever you like. I say wacky is totally cool with me. So if you want to do a more wacky one, you can do, great. If not, check out other games that have done fishing minigames, see what they've done. You can do something as simple as World of Warcraft, where you just pop out a bobber, when you see it move, you click on it, you get a fish. Do something like that if you want. I don't mind. It's all good. Okay? But hopefully it gives you some ideas if you've been stuck and don't know where to get started with making a fishing minigame. Maybe later on in the future we'll do an actual proper fishing tutorial system for series rather than just one ropey live stream. But yeah. Any questions about the fishing minigame or the fishing game jam? Yeah, water lemon, that's fine. You can use generic blueprints you've made, like pause menus and things. Ben, yep, yeah, it's in the cable. But if you want to do it with a Niagara effect, you can do. So if you're doing like a really thin visible cable, I would do it with a Niagara effect, do a beam. But you can do a cable, that's fine. Bobber is floating up to the half height. Would it be nice to polish it? Yeah, you can do that easily. So if I was to do that, I'd probably make my own little bobber thing in modding mode. That'd probably be the nice thing to do. Do that. Ooh. Do something like this. Turn that off, like that. We're going to take that. I'll do it like a cork shape, like that. Because we've got this stylized world type thing, I may go and not tri-select. I want polygroup still, but I just want the edge. There you go. And I'm going to, I forget what they call it. Most things are chamfer, bevel, there we go. Polygroup. Bevel. Something like that. And then I'm going to reset the transforms correctly on this. Oh. So I'm going to go to X form, bake transform. Yep. So that's now set to 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. And then, yeah, that'll be done there. Selection. And then if I wanted to bob like what you're seeing, like you're trying to talk about, is I would just go in here, edit the collision data for it. That's the simplest way of doing this. And if we go to show simple collision, you can see it's using complex collision to begin with. So I'm going to go to details panel, go down to use complex collision as simple, change that to project default, go to collision, and we're going to add a box collision. That's something simple. But I'm going to change the size of this. I'm going to go and do halfway up like that. So now it's going to hit the water and hit that bit there. So if I go to my bobber and replace the mesh with our one, there we go. And the cable, get that down to smooth there. If I throw this out, why am I doing that? I should do that. Oh, it's because no, the capsule. Why is the capsule hitting it? I think it's the capsule hitting it. I don't want the capsule to hit it. Maybe I do want the capsule to hit it, don't I? Okay, sorry, my bad. So the capsule will just edit that. We'll just put that halfway down like that. There you go. I forgot we made the capsule the root. Yeah, there you go. Now it's in the water. But then I need to pull that in. Also, you make it so I can't throw out an infinite number of bobbers whilst I'm bobbing. It's because it's static mesh. I've had to offset it by -40 already, so that's its default position, which is not great. I'll probably just go ahead and change the bobber model. Actually, it might be an easier way of doing it. Let's go to modeling mode, X form, edit pivot, top, save, go back to my bobber. There you go. It's looking a bit better. And if we want as well, we'll do a little material which shows it bobbing in the water a little bit and do a fake buoyancy. So we can use that world position offset, time, sine. In fact, we could even use the grass wind effect on this, but I'll just use sine. Multiply that by a vector of 2. You get that sort of bobbing effect. Okay, something simple like this. And I go apply that to the bobber. So when I throw that into the water now, the animation of it would be like that. And now it's getting pulled. Oh, and then you could do your you could do like water effects on it and being splashed up. I wonder if I've got any water effects. I'm getting into it now. But say I need to go to bed, guys. I need to go to bed. We'll go check what water assets I have. I think I've got some splashes I can have in here. Niagara footstep visual effects. Sure, why not? That would be a good one. So in here, I'm going to add a Niagara effect. I'm going to add a little splash. Will this video be on your channel? So yes, usually I hide these and give them to Patrons as a first dibs. But this being the Game Jam specific one, I thought I'd make this one available to everyone straight after. So if you want to watch this back, you're more than welcome to. Yes, this will work in UE4 as well. I'm not really doing anything unique in here. Multiple entries allowed. Is it only one per person? One per person. David, what was the suite of tools you just used? That was the modelling mode as part of Unreal 5. Love the universal coding audible confusion when things never work the first time. Yeah, they never do. They did, it'd be boring. Yeah, so I've probably got something in here I can use. Bum 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 bum. Oh, come on. I want water. Water splash. What's this? Is this one we can use? Let's have a look at this one. Oh, this is an emitter. Oh, it's very slow. I haven't played with modeling mode. Can you edit your own stake meshes with it? Yes. You can edit any meshes with it. Apart from skeletal ones. No, you can't do skeletal ones. Maybe you can. I don't know. I've never tried a skeletal one, but yeah, you can model anything with it. So I've often had to do this with assets I get from the marketplace. I need to edit and change them. So like for example, with Mimic, there's some assets in there I've had to edit and mess about with and break apart. Even customize material channels for it and things like that to get it working the way I want to make it work. Sure. God's sake, come on. I want to go to bed. So, mud, water, light surface. We want this one. Okay, so I think this is not set to loop. So, yeah. So, Mr. State is set to self once only. For our thing, we're gonna make it loop. So I'll probably edit this to make it loop. Wait for the shaders. Yeah, there you go. So we've got little splashes going off here. So I'm just going to go to the emitter state. It's set to self once. I'm going to change that to loop for infinite. And do it for each one. Yeah, it does save a lot of time. Yeah. It's very useful. Like, for example, I needed to make a hatch. Like a trapdoor hatch. But the asset I had, the trapdoor wasn't separate from its frame. So I had to cut out the frame. It was relatively simple to do. And I've had to like plug up like holes and put in like and re-edit the UVs, because you can edit the UVs as well in Unreal. So I'll do that. Infinite. Compile, save, and then close these. We'll get the water to splash, and then we'll have to end it there. But I'm super excited to see what everyone else is making. By the way, there are prizes for the winner. So winners will get cash prizes, as well as we'll be giving away codes for assets and other things like software and things. And we may do a few extra special things, like if I can weasel it. We'll try and get like hardware and things like that if we can, but yeah. Do you plan to do more maps to your game Mimic? Yes, I've already started work on the second map. I've got plans for 2 more after that one. So there'll be 4 in total currently. Yeah. Come on, you stupid thing. So, remember, if you have yet to sign up for the Game Jam, the link is in the description. Hit the link, sign up. It's completely free to sign up to. You've got a whole month to work on it. You don't have to spend a whole month doing it. You can just spend like 1 weekend if you really want to. You can come back and to and fro on it. And then at the end of August, when it's all over, there'll be a voting round. And then we'll do a live stream as we've done in the past. And we'll play your games, the top entries live on the channel. And we'll give away the prize thing there. Yeah, so super cool. And Mimic is going to be awesome. And if you're in London next Friday, we are actually showcasing Mimic on the show floor at GDLX. In some capacity, we are unable to showcase its multiplayer mode in full earnest, but you can walk around, try and do mission objectives without getting caught by them. By the robot android thing. That should be fun. There'll be swag as well. So if you're in London, you can get some swag. Holy hell! Come on. It's because I imported a load of things I haven't yet compiled shaders for. It's having issues. Can it be multiplayer? Multiplayer, single player, whatever you want. Solo would be easier, so I recommend solo, but you can do whatever you like. Oh my god. I already want to add a splash. Do you have more projects planned after Mimic? I do. Hardware prizes. Yeah, depending on where the winners are, I can send certain things off. But it's a little bit more tricky because obviously it's deliveries and things like that. So like we may give away like consoles and things like that, but we'll see. If we can't give away the console itself, I'll give you the money for it as a prize, for example. But or controllers or keyboards, mice, whatever it may be. But we'll see what happens. It's all out of my own pocket, so and I can do it. Thankfully, because people are supporting the channel over on Patreon and YouTube memberships and premium members watching stuff, and people who sign up to do private sessions as well. So if you want to do private sessions, you can sign up to those as well. They're on the website. You can find out how much they are and how many of those you can do. Yeah. Also, you can hire me to work on some games too. That's available. Some people, in some capacities, that's available too. Trying to think what else. I'm just killing time, waiting for this thing to finish saving the damn shaders. So, well, yeah. But yes, I have more projects planned after Mimic. There's a few things I'd like to try and do for fun. I think the next one won't be multiplayer. I'm kind of burnt by multiplayer a bit. It's just, yeah. I really want to try and do like a cozy little game, like a relaxing sort of thing. But we'll see. I mean, Mimic may take off to the point where I'm now working on that a lot more and doing a lot more stuff with it, making more maps, with making single player modes and things like that. By the way, slightly off topic, I need to get a new keyboard. Any recommendations for keyboards that you particularly like? I'm eager to see what people do. This one's getting a bit scummy now. So Game Jam is fish. Is it a theme fishing or has to revolve around literally fishing? It's a fishing minigame. You're going to make a fishing minigame. Up to what that entails. And it could be wacky, realistic, whatever you want. Right. So, back to my bopper. Put that in there. Logitech G510. Yeah. Okay, so we've got this splashing now. And then oh my god, the bloody emitters stuff. Close that. And basically I'm going to turn this Niagara effect off. So auto activate off. And then when it starts to bop, we hooked fish. Niagara effect. Activate. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do on this project. I'm going to be here all night otherwise, making a whole damn fishing mini game for everyone. And it's like, no, I want to see you make your own. But, yeah, so if I go like this. .81 kilograms. .475 kilograms. There you go. One fishing game. 3.788 kilograms. And then I'd probably make like say an NPC over here I'd sell the fish to, and then I can upgrade my own rod or something like that, make it launch further, get bigger fish, make it so, yeah, do things like that. What was the road to know to round up or down to get rid of load of decimals? So if you're doing in text format, if that's what you're referring to there. So when I bring the weight in as a float, if you do to text and plug that in there, on here you can then change how many fractional digits you want. So I'm going to have 2 rather than 3. Yeah. Grouping, whatever I want to do. And now I only do like 2 decimal points now. Kevin, can you give some advice for a recent graduate tech designer trying to get their foot in the door in the industry? Yeah, go to lots of networking events, talk to people, keep making stuff, sharing stuff, keep doing stuff like that, and yeah, eventually you'll get noticed. Just don't stop, just keep going, plug in, sending stuff out. But yeah, go to the networking events, you'll meet up lots of people, and eventually it'll pay off, and you'll get some results like that. Yeah. Ta-da! Done. 1 fishing minigame. I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone else does. And hopefully you have found this useful. So if you were getting stuck and didn't know how to approach a fishing minigame, at least you got this as a starting point, as something you can look into. But if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to the community on Discord. And don't forget, share your progress as well over on Twitter or anywhere really with the hashtag #LayleeFishingJam. I'll try and find it and I'll repost and share it all over the socials as well. And yeah, check all that out. So yeah, Black Widow V4 what's that? Keychron K10. That's mechanical wireless replacement buggy. Okay. Ducky 1-2 mini. Nice. Okay. I'll check out all these ones, and I'll probably gonna get one because yeah, this thing's grubby. Like the rest for this is, you can see it in the camera. Like it's just my wrist has just worn this away, and it's horrible. And I can't do it without a wrist. I mean, I could just buy a new wrist, but I want something new and shiny. Also, this keyboard, annoyingly, in the UK, I've got this thing imported in, and the keys aren't correct to what they need to be. So some things are in the wrong places to like UK keyboard, but it thinks it's sometimes UK, sometimes it's US, depends on what app it's in. It's really annoying. So I'll try to do that. Anyway, I didn't realise the music was that loud, sorry. But yeah, take care everyone. I wish you all the best, and good luck with the game jam, and I'll see you all next time on next Wednesday. Next Wednesday. Next Wednesday we'll do question time, and then I'll be live in Exhibition on the Friday. Take care everyone, best of luck, bye bye, happy fishing.